Welcome to Maslow AI, Systems Thinking for Life Fulfillment. I'm John Betancourt. For 25 years, I worked as an aerospace systems engineer. We had a simple mission: keep planes flying safely and efficiently. When a plane had problems, we didn't guess. We systematically diagnosed each subsystem until we found the root cause. Every day, I worked with brilliant engineers to diagnose complex systems, identify failure points, and implement precise solutions. But here's what I noticed. Those same brilliant engineers who use rigorous systems thinking to keep airplanes in the air often go home and completely wing it when it comes to their own personal lives. Today, we'll explore the story of one of those engineers. Her name is Tania. She is a perfect case study of what happens when very smart people misdiagnose their life problems. Think about this medical scenario. You have a persistent headache that won't go away. Tylenol? Nothing. Aspirin? Nothing. Ibuprofen? Still nothing. You might think you need stronger painkillers or have a serious neurological problem. But what if the real issue is magnesium deficiency, caffeine withdrawal, dehydration, poor sleep posture? And that's the problem. Until you identify the real root cause, you'll keep treating symptoms with the wrong solution, getting more frustrated with each failed attempt. This is exactly what happened to Tania, an MIT graduate, by the way. Tania thought that her problem was simple: just lose 10 to 15 pounds. Tania felt that those extra pounds were impacting her sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And Tania tried everything: multiple diets, expensive nutritionists, therapy sessions including hypnosis, gym memberships, and tons of self-help books. Yes, she even considered plastic surgery. Each failure made her feel more broken and more hopeless. But here's the key insight. These aren't bad solutions. They were solutions to the wrong problem. This is where Maslow's 1943 hierarchy of needs is really useful. It becomes our diagnostic tool. It allows us to identify where the failure point actually is and why Tania's diets are actually failing. It gives us a systematic way to identify which level of human need is actually causing her distress. Let's use the hierarchy as a diagnostic framework. When we look at levels 1 and 2, physiological and safety needs, which includes food, shelter, physical safety, financial security, etc., Tania is doing just fine. In terms of her safety and security, her basic physiological and safety needs are met. For levels 4 and 5, self-esteem and self-actualization, she's doing great. She received plenty of recognition, achievement, and personal growth at work. No problem there. However, when it comes to level 3, love and belonging, which focuses on connection, relationships, and intimacy, her life felt empty and meaningless despite her success at work. The diagnostic process shows that while levels 1 and 2, Tania had a good job, nice apartment, financial stability, check. Levels 4 and 5, she had career success, external recognition, check. But level 3, she's missing meaningful connections and intimacy. Houston, we have a problem. Her love and belonging needs weren't being met. Now let's look at why a level 3 problem, connection, creates symptoms that seem to be about everything else. When love and belonging needs aren't met, you experience life as repetitive and boring. Daily activities seem meaningless. You're going through the motions. You lose motivation for self-care. You start to question your self-worth and attractiveness. You feel like something's missing, but you don't know what it is. External achievements don't bring satisfaction. And the travel, champagne, and beach holidays just don't do it. This creates a specific diagnostic challenge. The symptoms appear everywhere, so you're trying to fix everything. Tanya's real problem wasn't struggling with weight or fitness, she was struggling with a connection hunger, and everything else was symptoms of that fundamental unmet need. But here's where the diagnosis gets even more complex. Even when you correctly identify that connection is the root cause, you still might be applying the wrong solutions. What worked for Tanya at 18 to meet the love of her life won't work at 40. Let's look at why losing 10 to 15 pounds and getting your bikini body might not work. For young adults, the connection system is based on physical attraction and excitement. It's a dopamine driven, fast, instant, chemistry focused. It's all about external validation and novelty that creates bonds. High energy, low stability requirements, it's all about attraction. The mature adult connection system, however, is quite different. This is based on safety, trust, and emotional stability. It is oxytocin driven, slow, steady, compatibility focused. Emotional stability and reliability are the keys to creating sustainable bonds. Those bonds generate sustainable energy and vitality, literally the feeling of being alive. So, our first diagnosis correctly identified that Tanya needed connection, but our second diagnosis identified something else that she needed, something else that was missing. Let me show you how that played out. Tanya's apartment is a beautiful two-bedroom condo in Reston, Virginia. Great building, excellent neighborhood, but when I walked in, absolute chaos. Dishes piled up in the sink, bed unmade, clothes scattered everywhere, a general disorganization and mess. Her explanation? Quote, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. My cleaning lady is on vacation for a month," close quote. My systems analysis told me this is not about the cleaning lady. Her living space is a direct reflection of who she is. This, generally speaking, will repel people in Tanya's age group that are seeking oxytocin based connections. Her behavior, trying to be cute, might work for dopamine connections when you are in your early 20s, but actively sabotage your oxytocin connections. These behaviors block trust and a sense of safety. It will cause people in her age group to run away. Oh, by the way, there's a long list of behaviors that just won't work for people in Tanya's age group. Treating service staff poorly, gossiping about others, being in financial disarray, being chronically unreliable and always late, talking without listening, having nothing substantive to contribute. Generally, this means you stopped growing intellectually. And of course, living in chaos. When you're young and physically attractive, people might overlook these traits for their dopamine obsessed need for connections. But when people are evaluating you as a potential life or long term partner, these behaviors are immediate disqualifiers. The system failure? Tanya was continuing to use behaviors that worked during her dopamine phase when she was 18. Just lose 10 or 15 pounds and all the guys will come running, while trying to create oxytocin based relationships in her early 40s. This will not work. In this episode, it is really important for you to understand that you can use the Maslow 1943 framework to correctly identify and diagnose the root cause of some of your life problems. We're not saying that initial attraction is not important. People still need to get a dopamine boost when they meet you. But at a certain age, that is not enough. Oxytocin is what supports and sustains long-term relationships. If your actions and lifestyle are not generating oxytocin in other people that you are in relationships with, those relationships will fail. In future episodes, we will explore how our Maslow AI 2025 framework can be even more helpful than our Maslow 1943 hierarchy. But the most important thing is to understand that you can use both of these frameworks, both 1943 and 2025, to correctly diagnose what human need is not being met. The key insight: most life problems are actually system architecture problems. Fix the structure, fix the behavior. Symptoms appear everywhere, but root causes are usually specific. Maslow 1943, in this case, helped us better diagnose the root cause. Moreover, your strategies must evolve as your needs change. What worked to get connections at 18 won't work at 40. So even if you're using the framework, you have to use it appropriately for your age group. External chaos, in Tania's case, reflects internal system failures. Her environment was revealing something about her internal architecture, and this was not going to generate oxytocin. So the question for you is, are you ready to stop winging it and start engineering your life based on a correct diagnosis of what needs are not being met? Because your life is another integrated system that can be understood using either the 1943 or our Maslow AI 2025 framework. And as such, it can be optimized. If this episode helped you and you want to learn more about applying systems thinking to your life, please share this podcast with someone who could benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, click the notification bell so you'll know when new episodes drop, and leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I read every comment, and it helps me decide what new episodes I should focus on. Thank you for listening to Maslow AI Systems Thinking for Life Fulfillment. I'm John Betancourt, and this is our podcast, Maslow AI, where systems thinking helps you have a more fulfilling life.